Good afternoon to everyone. Bueno, quería empezar a hacer este vídeo, ¿vale? De los usos, porque he estado viendo pues, que algunos de vosotros estabais fallando alguno de estos ejercicios con estos linkers que tenemos aquí en este tema. Y los linkers son de although, even though, in spite of, despite, as, since, que no sabéis cómo usarlos. Entonces voy a hacer este pequeño vídeo pues para que veamos cómo se usa, ¿no? Para la gramática. Okay, so we have the uses of although and even though. Okay, the words although, even though, and though are used to show contrast when two things are different or opposite. I like to compare it with the word but. We use the word but to show contrast. For example, I like baseball, but my husband prefers soccer. We've got a difference between me and my husband. Let's take a look at these examples. Let's imagine I just bought a camera and the camera was expensive. I could express it in a few different ways. I could say, it was expensive, but I bought it. That's giving the idea of a contrast that it's an expensive camera, so that would make me not want to buy it, but I decided to buy it. There is a bit of a contrast there. Now we can express the same thing using although or even though. In this context, you can use either one, cualquiera de los dos. Either one es cualquiera de los dos. They are the same. I could say, although it was expensive, I bought it. Or I could say, even though it was expensive, I bought it, okay? Now, notice that when we use although or even though, we don't use but anymore. You can use but and although in the same sentence. It makes no sense. You should never use although or even though and but in the same sentence because it doesn't make sense, all right? Although or even though takes the place of the word but. Okay, o sea, si pongo although es sustituyendo a but, in showing a contrast between the two parts of the sentence. You can also take this sentence and actually change it around to put although, even though in the middle. I could say, I bought it, although it was expensive, or I bought it even though it was expensive. I still have this idea of a contrast between the two parts of the sentence, an expensive camera and me. I am someone who likes cheap products, and normally I don't like expensive products. The camera was expensive. I bought the camera even though it was expensive. It's showing contrast, okay? Then we have the uses of in spite of and despite. Despite and in spite of are synonyms, okay? Despite means even though, and it's the opposite of because of or due to. It can be used with a noun or gerund. For example, she had difficulty communicating in French despite all her years of study. In spite of means exactly the same thing and is used exactly the same way as despite. She had difficulty communicating in French in spite of all her years of study. Okay? So they can safely be used interchangeably. Lo puedes intercambiar. You may notice that in all the above examples, despite has not been used with of. Okay? Then we have the uses of nevertheless. Nevertheless is more formal than however. Nevertheless is hardly ever used in spoken English. Nevertheless emphasizes a stronger contrast than however. It's stronger, okay? And nevertheless is closer to in spite of. And however is closer to but, okay? So here, however can begin a sentence. Remember to use a comma after however. And however can also go after the subject, after be or before a main verb. For example, number 1, after the subject. Most parents will agree that teenagers spend too much time on their phones. I, however, don't understand my parents give their teenagers phones in the first place. Number 2, after B. Students have been making excellent progress in their reading skills. They are, however, a few pupils who still need extra coaching. Before a main verb, the company accountant reassured investors that the company is financially stable. He did, however, advise them to prepare for a potential upcoming financial dip after redundancies are made. Okay? Then we have as, since, and because. When do we use them? As, because, and since are conjunctions. As, because, and since all introduce subordinate clauses. Okay? Frases subordinadas. They connect the result of something with its reason. Because is more common than as and since. Both in writing and speaking, we use more because than as and since. When we use because, we are focusing on the reason. She spoke quietly because she didn't want Catherine to hear. We often put the because clause at the beginning of a sentence, especially when we want to give an extra focus to the reason. Because breathing is something we do automatically, we rarely think about it, okay? Then we are going to see the uses of as and since, okay? We often use as and since when we want to focus more on the result than the reason. Okay, más en el resultado que la razón. As and since are more formal than because. Son más formales que because, para utilizar because, ¿vale? We usually put a comma before since after the main clause. For example, this is a result. Hope they decide to come as, and here's the reason. I wanted to hear about their India trip. Okay, they are rather expensive. This is a result, since they're quite hard to find. They are quite hard to find is the reason. We often use as and since clauses at the beginning of the sentence, okay? Then we have because of, due to, and owing to. So we can use because of delante de un sustantivo, okay? We didn't go out because of the rain. They arrived late because of the traffic. Nobody's going to recognize you because of your new look. Due to y owing to, que es debido a, son parecidos a because of en significado, okay? We drove slowly due to the fog or because of the fog. We couldn't swim in the sea due to the big waves or because of the new waves, okay? Due to se puede colocar después del verbo to be, pero owing no puede utilizarse de esta manera. The delay was due to the bad weather, okay? And her success is due to her determination, okay? Y bueno, pues espero que os haya ayudado este vídeo a entender un poco los usos de estos linkers, okay?